Welcome back to Jessie Performance, everybody. Last week we did a bunch of filming. We have 3 of Rick's trucks: the farm truck, the dually, and the show truck. They all get taken apart, put back together, and dynoed. One of them doesn't make it off the dyno, the other one breaks at the track, and the other one kills it. You'll have to wait and see which one did what. Got no goddamn cup holders in this farm truck. Today we have Rick's dually on here on the dyno. It's a 6.2. We did a little bit of a camshaft and we put a Vortex blower on it. It's pump gas, Holley Terminator X Max with a 4L80, a little bit of a stall. We're gonna see what it's gonna do. But today we have a special guest, Rick. He's the man, the myth, the legend. He's the one that owns all these C10s we've been working on, and you know, he's just a good friend, so he's here in person to see this bad boy hopefully put out some horsepower and hopefully not scatter the parts all over the floor. Alright, so we got this little Vortex on here, and we got a stock crank pulley and a pretty big upper pulley. And right now at 5,000 RPMs, the motor's overcoming the blower, which means we're actually building vacuum in the motor, and that's why we're not making any power like we should be seeing. So for now, we're gonna leave it at that. And today we have what we call the show C10. It's just a nicer truck that he has. It's the twin turbo. It has the 408. Last week at the track, he broke the tranny or converter. We removed both of them, replaced it. It's got a new Jake stage 5 with the trans brake and a Yank 3600 stall converter. So we should, it's spec for twin turbo truck, so we should have a lot better top end. It shouldn't slip so bad. It made about 845 horsepower on 17 pounds last time, and I'm hoping, you know, obviously we didn't lose power, but I'm hoping that I can turn it up a little bit today now that I feel confident in the transmission, and see where we're gonna get. Hopefully we'll probably max the fuel pump out. It's a Magna Fuel 4303, and so we got big injectors, but we'll probably max the pump out. So, on just the transmission and converter change, we picked up over 50 horsepower. Yeah, so it looks like we're at 891 horsepower. So, and we picked up about 100 foot-pounds of torque. So, that just goes to show on these high horsepower LS combinations, having the right torque converter really makes a difference on the power. And if you look at the graph, the converter didn't just stand up and lay down, you know, and the power didn't just stand up and lay down. It actually pulled. So, and I do think it might, it needs some more RPM. I mean, this thing wants some more RPM. That was 7,500. So I might rev it out to 8,000 and see what happens. But I bet we can make, and that's only 15 pounds of boost. So I think we can make over 1,000 pretty easy right now. I turn up the boost. I think there's a smidge of timing out of it for the extra boost. And I raised the rev limiter a little bit, so we're gonna see if we can't make some more power. Keep in mind this is on an unlocked converter, so if we locked up the converter, we'd make obviously, you know, at least 10% more power, but not a big deal right now. We're just trying to see what it makes it third gear, unlocked, and go from there. All right? All right, so I turned up the boost 2 pounds to 17 pounds. I revved it out to all the way to 7,500 this time. I looked at the log last time, I only went to like 65. So I revved it all the way to 7,500. And like I said, I took a little timing out. But that time it made 910 horsepower. So on 2 pounds of boost, minus some timing, I picked up about, what, 20 horsepower. We're right in the sweet spot of these turbos, I think. It's super healthy. I think it's plenty enough power. I mean, I want to keep going, but I think we'd have to change the springs and the gates. I think we're starting to overcome the spring pressure. So it's all hot and shit, and I don't want to do that. And this thing on 900 horsepower with a 20-inch tire, it'll be plenty on the street, considering it only had, you know, 800 before with a broken tranny. We don't need Rick crashing this one. This is a nice truck, so if you can keep it between the lines with this here, we can always turn up the boost more at the track and, you know, check plugs and just make sure everything's good. But we got good fuel pressure at the top in there, had plenty of air fuel ratio. I'm targeting at 12.0. It's right on the money. I mean, I sure do love me some Holly. All right, so what we got going on is we got my main man Billy and Dalton wrapping up the old blue farm truck. We actually ended up doing a lot more than we had thought. We took out about 75 pounds of farm truck wiring. Holy shit, this thing was a nightmare of wiring. It had just miles of just endless wire for no reason. And it was like, all of it was red. So you couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. So we just took and ripped all that out. We took the factory style PCM out, and all the wiring harness associated with that, and all the fuses, and you know, the farm truck wiring that went with that. It had a hob switch for I don't know what reason. We took all that off and all the extra vacuum line stuff, and now we got the Holly installed with the Holly harness, Terminator X. It has a 4L80 with a full manual valve body, so we didn't do the X Max. We have boost control now. That's what Billy's wiring up and plumbing right now, so I can adjust the boost via Holly. We got the fans. They used to be on the old farm truck like toggle switch underneath, and I forgot to turn it on at the track actually. Maybe that's why the head gaskets were bad. I don't know. So we got that controlled by Holly now. The fuel pump was just on by ignition key, and it was a janky wiring. I can't say janky. It worked, and it worked for many years, but it just wasn't proper how we like to do it. So we rewired that whole fuel power system. We added a external tranny cooler with an auxiliary fan in the back of the truck. It was just running through the radiator, which is sufficient on just normal vehicles, but when you have this kind of power and everything needs to be as cool as it can be, it's just best to put an auxiliary trans cooler on it. We swapped the heads to some 243s. I had those milled 30 thousandths. We got new LS9 gaskets in it, ARP studs. Everything is looking great there. Hopefully that bumps up the compression quite a bit for us. My calculations say it was about like 8.9 to 1. Hopefully with the heads and the gaskets and the milling and everything, we're around 10 and a half. That's gonna be more optimal for spooling the turbo and just making the engine more efficient under boost. It is a full E85 deal. It's got some Bosch 1600cc injectors with a big A1000 and a tank in the back. Maybe we should show them the tank. Let's show them the tank. Come on this way.
Which one?
Follow me. Originally, I told Rick that we need to put this thing on E85, and his issue with that was it's scarce in his area. So his solution to the fuel shortage where he's at is he put this ginormous diesel reservoir tank.
Let me get on this side of it.
Yeah, come around. You got to get it like the full view. Here, let me move this tire for you. Oh, yeah. And so when I race at the track, this thing is 100% full of E85, and so is the fuel cell that's in the back there. So we got some fuel. We can go some mileage if we need to. If you look, this tank actually gravity feeds to the fuel cell via that hose. And there used to be a pump on here that would stop the gravity siphon feed. So, but that pump went bad, and what happened is it overflowed the fuel cell just the way tank equalization works. And so now he's got this farmer clamp on there, and
Let's zoom in on the farmer's lamp.
Yeah, like, I mean, it is by no means pretty, but it does work. Yeah, and we got the tires on. We got all that ready to go. We made sure we got all the lug nuts on there. We have yet to put seatbelts in it. Yeah, I'm gonna work on that this evening and some a little bit tomorrow maybe. The problem is some of it was out of stock when I tried to buy some because this goddamn Corona stuff is still just screwing everything up. Maybe if we had more stuff built in America, not China, it'd be better. But what can you do? This is the kind of truck, like, you don't die driving it, you just get really fucked up. I got Old Blue strapped down to the dyno. I'm here by myself right now, so I'm gonna be doing the tuning and the filming, and I'm gonna start it out on gate pressure. I got a pretty good tune built in the Terminator X. Pretty simple, but I got my laptop hooked up to it, and we're gonna see what we can do. I think the gate pressure is gonna be about like 15 pounds of boost, which is a little bit higher than I like to start out normally on gate, but it allows us more on the back end. So we don't have CO2, which would allow us more boost on top of the gate spring. So since we only have boost in atmosphere, we'll probably be able to double that number. And we're trying to, my target today is 25 pounds. I'm trying to make more than 910 horsepower. So when we're at the track tonight, I can run Rick down if he gets a jump on me. Because I have slicks, he has slicks on a 20-inch wheel. He has a trans brake. I have not got the trans brake hooked up yet. I want to have enough to come around him on the big end. We're both, you know, forged motors. He's twin turbo, I'm single turbo. Yeah, he makes a lot of power and it's really responsive, but I'm hoping that's going to hurt him at the track, just being too responsive, and it's going to come into power too soon and blow the tires off. So with any luck, I can get this thing dialed in. All right, this is the initial pull, take one. According to my log, that was only about 12 pounds of boost. It seems a little lazier than I expected. If you look here at the graph, you know, it made 731 before. We're at about 500 on the gate now. But we are about 4 pounds of boost lower than that number is. And this is a pretty big turbo, so I just don't think we're in the efficiency yet. So I'm gonna give it another 10 pounds of boost and see what happens. All right, everybody, I got the boost targeted at 20 pounds of boost on the Holly. It should get us right where we need to be at. I'm gonna make a pull and we'll see what happens. All right, so what happened there is I targeted 20 pounds of boost and it made way more than that. So I turned it down 10 pounds of boost just to see what happened, and it made 20 pounds, right? So I turned it down to target 0, which means it should run the gate, and it ran the gate. So I was just making sure the wastegate functioning was good. So I'm gonna have to go a little at a time just to see where the sweet spot in the gate is with the solenoid. It's just with a big turbo and a small wastegate, it's hard to get it pinpoint accurate. I'm gonna mess with it some more. All right, everybody, little update. We did some diagnostics on the dyno. Turns out Old Blue's torque converter just was tired. It's spent. It doesn't matter how much boost we give it, how much timing we give it, how many RPMs we rev it, what gear it's in. It just does not want to hold any power. So if you look behind me here, let's see, there we go. We got it up on the lift. We are got the whole crew under it, changing the torque converter.
You ready?
Yeah, we're gonna give it a shot. I don't know if we got all the bugs worked out of it or not, It didn't really want to work very well on the dyno, but I have the boost control hooked up now, so we'll see what it does. Alright, so as my suspicions were, the motor in Old Blue is hurt. It's pushing oil out of the valve covers, which means that it's got too much blow-by. It's probably got a hurt piston, if I had to guess. We'll tear it apart, we'll get the motor out and tear it apart and just see what's going on with it. We have lots of motors, that's not a big deal. It just sucks that we put in the effort to change the converter and get all the way here and make one hit. Good news is the tires helped tremendously. That was a full pull, no lift, everything I could give it, and it went straight true. It was like driving Stacy's Cadillac down the track. It was so easy. So we're gonna double the horsepower and come back.
Okay.
Yep.
What about the other one?
So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get in the twin turbo truck and I'm gonna get it dialed in at the track. It makes 900 horsepower full boost, but we gotta get the launch and the ramp set right. So I'm gonna do a little bit of track tuning on that behind the driver's seat and see what we can do. All right? I gave it too much sauce out of the hole and lit the tires on fire. It's a little loud here. I'm going to take a little out of the two-step and go back at it and see what we can do.
Colorado versus Colorado. You guys are betting $100 on this race. Mustang C10.
successful night in the silver truck. I think the best was 630 at 115 miles an hour. Leaving with no bump, just off the brake on the 20-inch rims and tires. It hauls ass. It hauls ass. So, yeah, what else are we saying? Is that it? All right. So that wraps up the week of Rick's trucks. We had a little bit of heartache, a little bit of motor brake, and a whole lot of fun. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all that stuff, and come back and see us. Look for more updates on Old Blue. We're gonna get this thing torn apart, put back together, and better than ever. Thanks, guys. She's already recorded. Don't be backing it up on me. Did you catch that on film? Billy backed it up on me. Damn, son.